señor. Sí, señor. Sí, señor. He said this kind of topic. He don't discuss in public. The Rio Treaty. They could sanction we. Aruba said they don't know nothing. It's got to be gas in the Corona. Young and the Prime Minister. It have to be gas in the Corona. It wasn't pasa.
It got to be
gas in the Corona. Trinidad to Aruba.
It got to be
gas in the Corona. End up in Venezuela. They line on the line. 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 They
course, tonight, very exciting night tonight. Of course, as we feature our very own Andy Williams when on that or for that fateful occasion and for posterity and for an indelible symbolization as to the
You open up the borders
You open up the borders
for Delcy and 5 others
for the sea and 5 others
to have this COVID meeting
to have this COVID meeting
to discuss what's happening
to discuss what's happening.
without a doctor, no health officer, and people asking, everybody lying. It got to be gas in the corona, young and the prime minister. It have to be gas in the corona. It wasn't pasa. Gas in the corona. Trinidad to Aruba.
It got to be
Gas in the corona. End up in Venezuela. Don't feel me foolish.
You feel we foolish.
Rowley think we dotish.
Rowley think we dotish.
They underestimate we.
They underestimate we.
They think we real stupidity.
They think we real stupid.
Ask Delcy. Defend the VP. Ask Moses. For foreign business. It got to be gas in the corona. Young and the prime minister. It have to be gas in the corona. It wasn't pasa.
It got to be
Gas in the corona. Trinidad to Aruba.
It got to be
Gas in the corona. End up in Venezuela. Si, señor. Si, señor.
Once again, a pleasant good night to all and sundry. Sorry for that false start, but of course it was due to circumstances beyond my control. It's a good thing. I have put in, of course, a monitoring mechanism just for when we start up, so that I'll be able, of course, to monitor if everything is in order. And of course, in spite of my team that I have asked to, of course, stay back for the beginning at least of these broadcasts. That being as it may, things back to normal. Yeah, let me say in no uncertain terms that, of course, tonight is one that will go down in the annals of history as well, having regard to the efforts that we would have made as a collective, Andy, Mikey, myself, of course, and the ground report. And today we are seeing, of course, the fruits of that effort, because we not only did we suspect, but we had good, solid, palpable, irrefutable reasons to, of course, conclude that Rowley and his government was up to no good. Let me repeat, was up to no good when they invited Delcy Rodriguez inside of the country in 2020, when everybody else was asked to stay put, and of course without sustenance. Some of our compatriots had to be in New York and other places begging alms when they had, of course, their properties and so on, and even their properties were subjected to vandalism. Many of them, some of them, too much pride to, of course, make it public. But we know the trauma and the tragedy, and yet still, of course, for no good reason, and usually for selfish, self-serving, and avarice reasons, are talking about financial reasons. Rowley, Stuart Young, and others will conspire to, of course, breach their own laws, their own rules, in order to get an opportunity to deepen their pockets or to line their pockets with what rightfully is the people's resources. It is clear. And therefore, of course, I want to say that Rowley and they clearly have been engaged in what I consider to be not only political genocide, not only political murders, not only a political destruction, not only the commandeering of the resources of the country, not only an attempt to deliver evil, wickedness, pain, ache, agony, oppression, depression, and then, of course, still on top of all of that, tell us that they are the best thing since sliced bread. Oh, what a tragedy. And therefore, the PNM must go. There is no doubt in anybody's mind at this point in time. They must go. And we must intensify the action and actions that are required to get them to hell out of office. Let us not waste time with that. And so, people, tonight I will conclude, not in totality, but I will conclude the substantive part of my presentation with respect, of course, to Stuart Young, Delcy Rodriguez matter, and the fact that he sent us a pre-action protocol letter, and our response to that. And over here, I'm talking about if he had gotten his way, if we had allowed him to get his way, then Andy would have been involved, the radio station would have been involved, and therefore the Amaros, and of course myself. And so it is important to let you know that the infallibility that they believe that they have, that because they hold questionably public offices in this country, the office of which are supposed to be making decisions for the country, and they believe that they can commandeer, they can, of course, despicably and egregiously get into these offices and then pursue a vindictive, evil, and malicious agenda and put the entire country into a state, not panic. We are not panicked. No, I wouldn't go there, not panic, because we know that they are rank and unadulterated cowards. We know that it's only because of the office they're playing that they're bad, and of course they are providing and generating this bellicose and aggressive attitude and language to the people, and arrogating unto themselves some level of intelligence that nobody could comprehend or associate them with. Nobody. At the level of dunderheadedness and the level of blockheadedness and the level of inability to even string a couple sentences together or to make sense in terms of excuses. It's unfathomable. Let's go straight to the lines immediately. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night, Lennox. How are you tonight?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm fighting it as usual.
Of course, we all are, Lennox. We're there with you. I'm calling from Madras Road. Lennox,
Yes.
I want to say something. Let me have a real talk here. You see,
Yes.
in my mind, the Prime Minister puts up appearances, and he does this when he showcases to the world, and we're not talking like rhetoric stuff, we're talking real life political stuff, because this show is real, and I'm talking to you right now, and the country is in turmoil. But he puts up appearances like Trinidad is really a true democracy, that he will stand up and fight for the rights of the people, that we have transparency, and we have all these good stuff. But and what he does to foster this appearance and to kind of reinforce that appearance that he cares, he flies around and he shakes hands with a lot of people. He is in London, Canada, Dubai, and he's promoting oil and gas. In 2017, the man was in England with the same Shell company. He didn't meet with the interim director, he met with the real director. They arranged this meeting with Shell, and everybody met at the High Commission's office, and over 300 people went. I know I'm digressing a little bit here, but bear with me. I'm getting to the point, Lennox,
Yes,
because
you
you
go
and I
ahead.
have
You
a
go
kind
ahead.
of
You go
similar
ahead.
purpose. Okay,
I
thank
will
you,
give
my
you the
friend.
time here. Here you will get all the time. Go ahead, my dear.
I love you. I love you. Thank you. And you will commiserate with me and say you agree with me. But in 2017, he went to the High Commission's office, right, in England. That's a big place. And he had over 300 people who are local Trinis who live in England. Some of them were the Westies, the Windies, right? That's what they call
Yes.
them.
Yes.
Yes, so he had a whole diaspora of them come one evening to visit him, and they all wanted to talk about Trinidad. This is back in 2017, And in the newspaper, this was published in the Caribbean, some Caribbean Knowledge newspaper. There's a newspaper actually called that, And and in the paper, it said that how these people were expecting to have wine and cheese because Trinidad is an oil-rich country, okay?
Yes.
So they were expecting this. If you go to Dubai, you'll get that same treatment. You'll get the best of the best. And
Yes.
they got like water and juice. They were and he said that, and he had,
No, it's a serious matter, but it's good to have a laugh because it is really ludicrous. And they are
well, let me
the
tell
Tommy Joseph of politics in the Caribbean, and in the hemisphere, not just
you.
here. So go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead. You're
All right,
well
so check this.
placed.
So
Yes.
check this out, right? So the writer of the article said that people were kind of like annoyed because they had to wait hours because there were so many checkpoints just to get into the building. Because actually in England, this is when terrorism was real high, and Trinidad was kind of targeted as being a
Yes.
Hamas-supported country, and so it was really heightened there. But people did get in and everything. But where I'm going with this is the Prime Minister made a comment, and he said, I want all of you to come back to Trinidad. I was there for all of you. Come back to Trinidad and work, and let us build this country together. You think I'm going to leave England and run to Trinidad after they get cheese and water? So check this out.
I could imagine.
This is
I could imagine the frog face and the vexed faces and the annoyance that he
they
evoked.
probably
Yeah.
they would have slapped him with their napkins, with their paper napkins. I swear to God. But anyway, right? So the thing is, and then he had the nerve to say, "It's a high commission job, and I want all of you to apply for the job. It's a high commission job." He give the job to Conrad in the You think anybody can get that job?
Yeah, he will do that. He will do that. Knowing full well that is impossible. 200 persons who wants to apply for one job. I mean, the mere ridiculousness of the impossibility of that outcome.
Oh my God.
I mean, it is ludicrous. I agree with you.
For real, right? So then let me go to let me come back now to the present now. So he goes over to to England, and he meets with the interim director and shaking the shell and BP's hand. Let me tell you something. What is going on in this country? Let me have a real talk now, laughing aside. Climate change is real. And I said this when we had the flood of 2018. We're going to see convections in our weather where we get really, really hot sun and heavy, heavy rain. And it's going to impact crop production and agriculture. But what the Prime Minister does is, again, it's the appearance. So he's training all these young people to go to school to get agriculture training. And we don't know how they're performing, what they're producing, how is the land going, how are the houses coming along. None of that. There's no follow-up. And then on to top that off, he refuses to talk about climate change. This man is continuously focusing on drilling the whole damn place for oil and gas. You know, he said tourism is gone. He literally said we are not even worried about tourism anymore. We are an oil and gas country. We've got to get this LNG going. And meanwhile, what he does to support the appearance that he really cares, he drop a few freaking solar panels in the airport here and there. That's not going to do nothing to help our people. This man is full of lies. And he has the nerve to have press conferences and speak to us like we're stupid. You know, Lennox, I'm telling you, is get so angry and enraged that people don't feel that kind of fire in their belly, boy. I'm telling you, it's just, you know, but he just keep and he promotes this, and you get people like Julia Davies, who looks like she coconut partner, whatever his name is, and they speak so filthy. And she was a UNC person. Shame on that woman. She doesn't give a damn about this country. Nobody who gets, you know, to build this country, you have to really want to fight for this country and die for this country. That's how Americans do it, man. You see Trinidadians? Man, if they call up Trinidad, if they have a war, you see how many Trinidadians serve in the American military? Man, they have so many Jamaicans in that thing. You have Trinidadians. I met Trinidadian police officers in Boston. You know, our people want to fight for something. And you come here and you're in a police, you're in the army, and you're a drug dealer, a gang dealer, you're running a susu, you have millions of dollars. Nobody gives a damn about the borders. Nobody's standing guard. And we have a president who, when election time comes and she win, you be the president, they put you around in a double truck and they drive you around the savannah. Seriously, that truck looks like a double truck. You know, I feel like...
No. I am enthused. I am really,
you feel the passion of me, right?
No. I'm impressed. It's for the first time I've been hearing you over the years, but I mean, the first time you have been really impassioned and really expressing this patriotism, and of course, the hideousness that is, of course, this administration led by a prime minister that clearly is engaged in histrionics and comicry. Basically,
I want to share
that's what
something with
Jesus.
you. Yeah. I'll say something with the people who listen and they support Kamala. I'm a woman too, man. I'm a strong woman. I'm no weak lady. If you die, you have to die. We all have to die. I will stand up for what I believe in. If I commit something wrong, I will stand up and say I did something wrong. I've committed many wrongs in my life. I've paid my penance. And I'm a grown-up now. I don't have to be accountable to anyone except my mother until she passes on. I'm accountable to no one except my own conscience. Because we all have to die. What I'm saying to you is this. You see this Prime Minister? When he speaks to us, if you will look at his posture and his fingers and how he sways back and forth, and it's like he has a rhythm and he's twiddling his thumbs. He will never stand there with forthrightness. He will never stand there like a real man and speak to us and lead us. Never. I watch him many times and I'm like, what the heck? He's like a pussy. Oh, I'm being like a cat. I think he can. I see him.
That's all right. It's permissible here. You go ahead.
Thank you. All right. You know, then you look at someone like Carla Bassessa, you know, of course she's in her 70s. I have a sister who is in her 60s, and my sister's almost frail. Because when you are a woman, your physicality is going to be different from a man. Because you carry children, you've nursed your babies, you have a uterus, you menstruate. You don't have the same muscle capacity like a man, like Dr. Rowley. So she is aged and she is frail. But she stands when she gets behind that podium, and when she speaks in Parliament, you know, I respect her because she doesn't waver. And then people will say, well, no, and she doesn't waver, and she always stands firm and she speaks. She speaks clear, perfect English.
Yes.
You know, But people will say, oh, is she a drink now? Is she a drink now? Those are the uneducated, stupid people who speak like that. Give she a drink, she was drunk. We all drink. I drink too. Everybody drinks beer in this country. That's what we do. And we're making billions. We have economy. But the government fails to see that. They denigrate you, they pinpoint you, and they'll make you an addict, and then they'll ostracize you. They'll never help you. That is what the PNM is all about, eh? And so I telling you, this man, I learn a lot about the PNM, and I feel like this man is all about appearances, and he creates a cabinet, and they're all little puppets, and they run around and wide mouth frog Faris Alwari. Mr. Alwari did nothing as an AG. When the borders were open and news reporters were saying, Attorney General, Mr. Alwari, tell us, what is going on with the borders? All these Venezuelans coming into the country. People are saying, what is going on? He says, what Venezuelans? I don't know what all they're talking about. I don't know. I have to run in my office and fix my tie and make sure my pants tight. I bet he spends freaking 10 hours cleaning his teeth and picking his nose every morning. He must take 10 hours to get dressed.
Yes.
I'm yelling a lot, right? It just frustrates me. And I'm venting tonight, man. God, thank you for giving me some airtime.
Yeah.
I just want to. I want
to. Yes. Yeah.
Well, I hope people. I hope people really understand that this country is so beautiful. When you drive in Piaco and you see those planes landing, you'll never see that in any other country except it's like, one of those remote places. You could park by the Piaco airport and you look out and you could bring your kids and they could see the airplanes landing and they could say, one day I want to be a pilot. Or maybe a kid could say, one day I want to be an engineer. I want to build planes. I want to design planes. I want to make planes that are energy efficient. I want to do something great in my country. We don't get that. You don't get kids saying, I want to grow up to be a fireman. I want to save people's lives. You never hear kids talking like that. And I know because I talk to kids all the time, every day. I'm telling you something, It's like the children who want to dream and dream big, it's like they're being pigeonholed. And I feel like maybe people will disagree with me and say I'm crazy, but I talk to a lot of kids and I'll tell you something, they mimic adults and people don't realize everything we do, our kids mimic us, they learn from us. And if they don't learn from you, they're learning from the neighbor next door who will probably be molding, raping your son and your daughter. So we don't...
All their peers.
Oh my God.
Usually
Lennox,
subterranean qualities and characteristics, yeah.
Lennox, I gave a lot. I unloaded a lot on your table today, and I hope you address some of these and talk to us. And hopefully, let me get our people to call because hopefully people have the fire in their belly and they will speak the truth. And we need a change in government. And if not, all you have to riot. Until things going to change, people will have to take to the streets if you want change, and that's nothing wrong with that. You have to get a permit to go and hold a protest. That's ridiculous. That is a violation of your freedom of expression. So let me go with that. All right, thank you, Lennox. I love you, man.
Yes. Bye. I want to tell the caller, of course, go to the top of the class. It's not very often I give that accolade and accept that kind of bold. Well, I don't want to sound feminist, but particularly from a woman, because that is the experience. So I'm not feminist, but I am pragmatic, and therefore I really appreciate that opening salvo, and I think that would set the pace for the enthusiasm that I, of course, hopefully I have imbued and have, of course, delivered by my opening salvo, even though, of course, I was a bit slurred due to the technology, not because of any alcoholic or any ingestion of any kind of drink or substance that will slur my tongue. In other words, I am not inebriated, I am not drunk, but of course it was the technology that caused that. But all is well that ends well, and I hope that the people read Far From the Madding Crowd, after I mentioned it yesterday, that this government reminds me of Farmer Oak Dog in that particular novel, that particular piece of literature by Thomas Hardy. You just have to Google it and you will get it, and just put in, just to go straight there, Farmer Oak's dog, if you want to call it that. And of course, I'm sure the chapter relating to the disaster that the younger of the two dogs delivered to this man, to the point where he had to take his shotgun and pull it back and bow. And that was the end of the story. But of course, his misery would have continued because he recently invested in those animals and was looking forward, of course, when they would have matured to live fairly comfortable in a rustic or rural environment where, of course, poverty usually is higher than if you are in maybe a urban community or a well built up or established town where, of course, you can get $1 easily because there's a lot of work there. So I trust that you would have read it, and tonight maybe somebody may well give me their own impressions as to whether or not Rowley and this government are equal to, juxtaposed side by side, since Rowley is the destruction of Trinidad and Tobago, as that dog was the destruction of Farmer Oak and his, of course, prosperity potential and his advancement. Rowley and they seem to be and the caller is correct. It's about showmanship. And I mentioned that, I think, on the ground report this morning or yesterday, where I mentioned about the government will pave and correct the deficiencies of the highways. Why? Because it is high profile, high visibility, and therefore, if the majority of the population would have, in order to get to work or leisure or any other activity, will have to travel on the highways, when Rowley and they, deception is that once you go on the highway and you see work, it means therefore the potential, you will feel optimistic that they come in by you, when you will wait there until the monkey liver soup comes home. You will wait there until thy kingdom come, as some people would say. My mother liked to say that. You will wait there and be like Rip Van Winkle, the fella who, of course, went into a meadow when, of course, the Americans were not yet independent. And according to the story, he lay there asleep. And of course, he grew a long beard in the process. And when he got up, he was still asking for Her Majesty. And they had to tell him, but listen, everything has bypassed you because we are an independent republic. Our people are governing themselves and we are moving steadfastly forward. Rip Van Winkle, that's another book you may wish to read. I can't remember the author's name at this point in time, but certainly, and from time to time, I will make reference to various literature that you can reference in order, because let me tell you something, Rowley is making references to literature as well. There is a woman called Makela, not the panda here, but she wrote a book. She is a citizen of Tanzania. Yes. And she wrote a book. Rowley, of course, misquoted the title of the book. The book is entitled, of course, it is Our Time to Eat. He said that is my time to eat. And he recommended, when he was, of course, making his false accusations and his propaganda obnoxiousness when they did that piece of highway, a small piece, not mentioning the piece that fell into the swamp below. Murila liked to comically refer to it as the cricks, because it has crumbled. And he was telling us that, listen, you must read that book. Well, it is clear that he read it. He read it because his conduct is exactly what that book promotes, because it was about a whistleblower who, of course, was talking about all of the corruption and nepotism and cronyism and, of course, rank and unadulterated abuse of office. Rowley must have read that book, and it would have been a good teacher, a good study piece of material for him, because exactly that which that book referred to is what he has been doing. And let me tell you something. He does not believe in whistleblowing. It is merely a facade, a front to justify or to nullify his despicable conduct and his treacherous and treasonous behavior when he talked about emails in the parliament utilizing the sanctity one and the privilege of members to be immune from slander and defamation, and he went in there and delivered a most brutal, a most poisonous, a most heinous, a most wicked, a most diabolical, a most self-serving oratory that must, under normal circumstance, ought to have found him in a prison all now. That is how dangerous this man was and still is. So I am making the point that when the reverse is the case, that is to say, when it's his turn to be subjected to the very things that he, Ablam, and with a smile and with, of course, a high degree of commitment to evil, high degree of commitment to evil, when it is his turn, he starts to plead innocence and saying that it is a dastard lie on the part of whosoever it is. And don't tell me you don't know as a sycophant. Don't tell me you don't know as an apologist. Don't tell me you don't know as one that is now in denial, because I am going to refresh your memory because it is recent. And that is when Fali brought some tapes and pictures in the Tobago House of Assembly and accused Rowley of conspiring with his colleagues in Tobago, his PNM colleagues in Tobago, and involving, of course, the present Commissioner of Police and other elements of the police service who paid copious and, of course, almost steadfast, almost total and absolute focus on Tobago in connection to our audio tape. They go on Tobago, but Ella Christopher have not given us an update as to what has happened and Rowley's involvement with respect, of course, to the fake oil. She has not told us and have not focused on any element of that undermining of our democracy and the involvement and confession of Dr. Rowley of having intercepted the shortlist sent by the then Police Service Commission to the president then weeks and to be forwarded to the parliament. She has not told us whether an investigation has been launched into that matter. We have not heard what is happening with respect to what a judge said that was a kidnapping of a Trinidad and Tobago citizen, Brent Thomas, from Barbados, orchestrated and facilitated and financed clearly with the involvement of the Trinidad and Tobago authorities, and in this case, the Ministry of National Security. Not yet. We have not heard anything about Robinson Regis, hundreds of thousands of dollars moving from one bank to the next, and the institution, the organization that is responsible for monitoring such and questioning such activities, particularly if you are a member of government. Up to now, we have not gotten an answer, an adequate answer, a rational explanation from Robinson Regis as to what transpired there and how she became in possession of that amount of money, and when the investigation led to the bank where she said she withdrew the money from, the money that she was talking about is still in that bank, the Republic Bank, but yet still that sum of money was deposited in First Citizen Bank in Arima. We have not heard that. In fact, just as his defense of Al-Rari and his children, and just as his defense that is par for the course, and that it is standard practice, and that in fact he said it was best practice for members of the cabinet to engage in activities that at minimum is despicable, at minimum is unacceptable, at minimum ought not to be, at minimum it should raise eyebrows to every eyebrows of every single citizen in this country. Let's go straight, of course. Let's go straight to the lines. Remember, it's only WhatsApp.
Lennox,
A pleasant good night. Yes.
good night. You hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Nice.
Loud and clear. Yes.
So my internet have a little delay.
All right.
Yeah. I do. We're talking about which this lady Camille Robert. It's Camille. What the bank account or some kind of thing.
Yeah, Camille Robinson Regis.
Right. I could do you one better than that. What about the PNM minister? Some minister gain the police assault rifle.
And no investigation.
And nobody can, no police, nobody can do nothing. You see the quagmire that we are in this country.
Yeah.
So if another government come in and start to investigate them fellas and them, you can understand the quagmire them fellas and.
Yeah, and I've mentioned it already that a rookie coming out of the training center of the police barracks would do a very good job. That's to tell you how blatant these fellas are, and they're certain to make a jail.
So how they can do a job good now? So we had to wait for our next administration to come in to see about that. Why they can't do a good job now?
It's very simple. They are self-serving. It is them who are doing it. Everybody else is corrupt except them. Everybody else have done things. They even manufactured. We see the persecution of Anand Ramlogan and Rambin even all now. So we know them clearly. They will not. But I can tell you, the dig for others, they will certainly have to fall in it.
Oh God, I can't understand them. I hear now. You hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
All right, cool.
Go ahead.
I hear
Yeah.
Mr. X today talking about all the talking stupidness and all the only talking about Kamlan, all kind of. I want Andy tomorrow pull he up on his socks,
Yeah. But I don't
because
think
he
I
only
don't think-
talking about numbers and where platform he work and what he know about things. You see them gonna other call Amaran and let you know here what going on. I don't want to know about Mr. X life. I want to know about the current situation in Trinidad and Tobago. I work offshore too, just like Mr. It are one or two people who call. They know about offshore, but nobody don't want the callers. Nobody don't want to know about where Mr. X work and he gone into a whole situation about drilling and betan. Nobody don't want to know about that.
Don't upset yourself, Don't upset yourself because it's an
No,
easy.
today
an
I
easy
listen to
explanation.
all you. Today I listened to Oli and then he come on and then he started talk, but he don't want to hear about this and that and oh come land this people. I said, but like this man is PNM, like he's an undercover PNM. The way out something like he is an undercover PNM and I know he's from Lavanti. So it make me wonder what is going on. Because when we bring out the facts, he telling he don't want to hear that. I hear what you say.
Yeah. No, I will respond. You finish when you finish.
All right,
When you finish,
but guys about what I'm saying. You're talking about Camille Roberts and the police service. So why the police service could only act when other administrations in, but they can't act when PNM day?
Well, of course, we have
That's my
explained
whole
that.
point.
Yeah, we have explained that. We have explained that there's a reason for it, and we'll continue to do so. Incessantly, we will continue. It takes
Yeah,
nothing from us to continue.
but what's saying, Lennox, explain tell nothing. What is the solution we could do fire the whole of the barracks? Like you telling me any barracks to go and look for them.
No.
Yeah.
I was saying that a rookie police officer, a fellow who now come out of barracks, who now finished train, the way how the evidence is so blatant and how they have done things in public office, how they abuse the office, is easy to charge them. That is the point I was making.
Right.
When I call that.
It's easy
I
for them to
referred
lay
that.
a case.
Yeah. There's a point I was making.
But if when he get a call from his senior soup and tell him forget that.
Yeah. But no, I'm just saying that the evidence is so blatant. But certainly there are other variables, other factors you have to factor in as to why such a person will not be investigated. So you're quite right. I didn't reach there. I just cut off by saying the evidence is so overwhelming that they should close their eyes and charge these fellas. That's the
Right,
point I
but
was
what's
making.
saying the country fell up of PNM, you gain them, they gain man in 10 years, they gain this one 8 years. They get UNC, they will get UNC and our next administration 5 years we have to fight up and fix the country and then they will get them back in data again. Come on now, man, we spending top and more now. All right,
Yeah.
Lennox, I ain't going to take
Yes.
up too much time. All right.
Yeah. But I want to tell you as well, you see, I like to be pragmatic and I'm fully aware of the statistics as well. And I want to tell everybody 5 to 10 years ago, I, Lennox Smith, could not be here tonight simply because the technology and the cost was prohibitive. And of course, one had to, of course, engage in a learning curve in order to generate this. Just as you at home, being able to use your various devices, whether it be a laptop or whether it be, of course, a tablet, or whether it be your smartphone. Rowley and they have not catered for that. They are still living in an anachronistic reality, meaning that they believe that the country is still 10 years or 15 years hence, or 20 years hence, and that instantaneous information and what they said yesterday could be easily be verified, and what they even saying tomorrow could be easily verified, because they may give something in writing before they would have come to talk, and therefore we just have to do fact checking. They ain't cater for that. You see, Eric William got away because that technology was not available. And even if it was available, there weren't people who were prepared to make the investment to make certain that our democracy is not exploited and, of course, generated the kind of decadence and the kind of criminals that occupies the highest offices, public offices in the country. So Rowley is having, and his minions don't believe that they are not concerned, and his minions are extremely concerned that people, nationalists, people who are patriots, can go night and day at their convenience and reach thousands of persons, and everybody in Trinidad for that matter, and everybody in other parts of the region and the globe. They never catered for that. So you see them, of course, trying their best to, of course, generate phantasmagorical instances like that of Anand Ramlogan that has gotten no traction. Why? Because when the traditional media pick it up, but we in the social media, from which, of course, the situation has reversed, because traditional media now takes from social media, since we are there first, and we are more articulate, and we are more aggressive, and we are more sensitive to not only the issues but to nationalism and patriotism, and the fact that we can identify without a fear of contradiction, and we can develop the veracity support, the information support, to tell Rowley, for example, he's a blasted rapist and pedophile, and we can tell people like his sidekicks, Stuart Young, that your association with Delcy Rodriguez suggested that you are a drug lord, and that you are a racketeer, and that, of course, the entire cabinet must be guilty of treason, having regard to making a decision collectively, conspiratously, to close down Petrotrin to save Rowley, and that more importantly, we can bring pictures and support the chronology and the history, and easily, of course, defended in court, should in case they have the audacity and the temerity and the boldfaceness to go to court. Because look at Balize House right now, and you would see who judge will not draw a similar conclusion like you and I. When Rowley told us in 2015 the PNM was broken and was owing $4 million with a couple of other hundreds of thousands of dollars. Broken just 8 years ago. And 8 years they are in office. And within 8 years, they're building $100 million monstrosity at gangster headquarters. Who judge saying that you have calculated wrong and that you are defaming them. Who? And that's the only recourse they have, and they ain't even using it. Rowley, you're a blasted rapist and a pedophile. Every night I say it. And on the radio station, only because of their infiltration in various institutions that has stopped saying it, because it has put, of course, the license of 104.7 in jeopardy. But suddenly, every night on social media, Rowley and I tell Hines and all of them, or let's see in others that which is in all you. But what is distinct of these people who follow Rowley is that their boss and the man that they revere, and because he given them 30 pieces of silver, they will turn a blind eye, and their moral and ethical and their sense of right and wrong, they have compromised. And I say that if your boss man is a rapist and a pedophile, you can't talk to me. And I will go as far as to say, I don't even want you to talk to anybody else until you remedy that situation. How people whose boss man is a rapist and a pedophile could talk to you? In my home, we don't play, Rowley can't come on TV, otherwise I mash up the TV or take it out, and because I'm poor, I'll have to, of course, take it off. He's not to be listened to. He's a scum of the earth. He's a rapscallion. He's a criminal. He's a sociopath. And all of them suffer from, of course, manic depression, manic, psychological, intellectual, and cognitive debasement. That's what they are. And so I want to tell the caller, in other words, don't let your heart be troubled, because there are people who are prepared to go the distance, and their tenacity for evil, we must respond with greater tenacity to insist and to persevere and to make them see that we are in the faces every day. Why I think I'm doing this every night? It's to make them know. And you see, I just put my name. I put in my name. Why I think I put in my name? It's to let them know I don't want to be like those closet and those persons who going forward and had their handbrakes up. No. Are going all the way. And while I understand some people may not be in the position or have the commitment like myself, I am not a rich man. And I know that the possibility exists that they could try to jeopardize my source of income. I know that too. But I believe that the defending of our democracy, the sense of right and wrong, the blatant and unadulterated abuse of office, and the greed, and the perfidiousness, the betrayal that these fellas and women have committed, that anybody engaging in an attempt to neutralize that, for me, they should be a hero. They should be seen as heroines. They should be seen as true patriots, as they enlighten the people. And we're not advocating bullet, we advocating the ballot. And by edification, and by tenacity, and by commitment, and by perseverance. Because the Lord moves in mysterious ways, his wonders to perform. And there's a fundamental principle, and that is, evil could never prevail over good. Lest the Bible is wrong, lest the Gita is wrong, lest the Quran is wrong. And because I believe in all of them, we have a duty and responsibility to expel, to jettison, to eradicate, to annihilate the evil that is Rowley and his government, so that we can have some hope and return to prosperity and the potential of the country with all on deck, knowing full well that they will not be persecuted or they will not be robbed. Them people rob poor people who was dependent on a hamper, during COVID, It's $22 billion, And they can't account for it, But we know that they took it as an opportunity to pay VAT to their 1%ers. VAT that they ought to have had and already paid before COVID, because that money was owed for over 3 or 4 years since they came into office. Understand that. But instead, they were prepared to deprive the people of a hamper. They were prepared to deprive people of an opportunity to have a shelter over their head, because the money was for those persons who would have lost an income and therefore can't pay the rent. People were put out. People were put out. There were small and micro businesses, whether those who were involved in running a bar business, a pub, selling roti, selling doubles, selling bacon shark. They were ruined, like, of course, Farmer Oak. They were ruined, courtesy Rowley and they. That is what we are defending against, people. That is what the situation is. Yeah. I understand that I'm not on Facebook, but I did everything and I'm not seeing it here as well. Could somebody call in and let us know, because everything seemed to be functioning here, and I understand that we are not on Facebook. So please, I'm seeing, of course, on YouTube, but I'm not. I do try my best to look at at Facebook. So if you can tell us, see if we have done something, something might have gone wrong in studio. But that being as it may, people. That being as it may, we must persevere. And every night, as prescribed, we will be here to, of course, echo your own sentiments and your feelings. And as we reciprocate by way of conversation. And don't study Mr. X. Don't study Mr. X. You see, Mr. X is one of those people who believe they are more than what they really are. You ever say? I say Mr. X is one of those characters that believe they are more than what they are. And so they pretend to be intellectuals and businessmen, etc. They pretend to know everything. Just as Roger, just as Rowley, and just as Hines, and just as every single minister who clearly are total charlatans. You see, it is easy to dismiss and to find cogent argument to support what I am saying. You see, in the run-up to the Tobago House of Assembly elections, and when we were out there organizing pushback 1, pushback 2, pushback 3, pushback 4, pushback 5, he was saying the same thing. He was saying the same thing. And many of the established professional pollsters, those persons who monitor elections and give predictions. All of them. All of them. We defeated all of them because we told them that the PDP will win everything in Tobago. They're them lucky they get one. So I am not perturbed. And as I said, I'm a practical man. And therefore, what we are doing tonight at this moment, you check it out 5 years ago, 10 years ago. It was a distant idea. A distant idea. But this kind of information dissemination is a dagger in the heart of those who would prefer to eat the biscuit and shed them out. I'm talking about illegally gotten biscuits. Raid the treasury, raid the Heritage and Celebration Fund, engage in mismanagement and profligacy and rank and unadulterated criminal behavior, and come, and because no one was able, of course, to find a medium to expose, far less to investigate, they are having a tremendous problem. I am not perturbed. I heard a particular caller who I respect this morning, and I could call his name Mr. Lahokita, that calls me. Of course, normally I would remain silent, but I will not, where the opportunity is to abuse any notion that is clearly a misinformation, misguided, or uninformed person. I am not questioning, I'm not castigating. Let's go to the lines before, of course, I continue. Pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yeah, Lennox, tonight, no, you really not getting me on Facebook, eh?
All right, okay. I don't know
Yeah,
what
but
has happened.
I watching you on YouTube.
All right, okay. Thank you very much for that.
Right.
I don't. All right, thanks. I'll see what
Yeah,
I can do.
and forget, don't study Mr. Extra, these fellows on them, you know, the brain and functioning right.
Yeah, I have eczema, but I'm using him as a topic to show people that you mustn't take them on. Yeah. You mustn't take them on.
I do.
Oh, sorry about that. I thought you had finished. Let me see if I can do something about that Facebook thing, boy. I don't know. I'm seeing everything working in here. I'm getting what I'm supposed to get. Let me just take a look-see again. Yeah, things are supposed to be running on Facebook this time. I just want to tie up that aspect of it. So I'm saying they see in others a quality that they don't have, but will, of course, pretend to know everything. And as I said, our prediction for Tobago manifested itself. Where is his credentials? So I'm not. So don't bother with that. That is cacophonous babblings and, of course, ambulatory verbalization, simply because they have a voice box and an orifice called a mouth. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Okay, Lennox, it's me again. I wouldn't take long, but I wanted to share. Oh, and by the way, I like YouTube. I think YouTube is great. I think it gives you a wider range of people to watch, and you're not, Facebook. I like YouTube, so I watch you on YouTube.
Right, okay, well, that's good because the Facebook people will not agree with you.
Oh, yeah,
they're not seeing me now, so I'll have to try to do something during the course. Yes, go ahead.
But I see you on YouTube. We get all the chats, and you have a nice chat forum there, and it's fine. And people could engage in that chat on YouTube. So if they know how to navigate the website, they could do it.
Okay.
But I wanted to say something that really bothered me, about this report, this Commission of Inquiry report, and the divers that died in that pipeline, which is very serious because we're talking about oil and gas, and we're talking about the future of this economy.
Yeah.
See, that report is very important, and if that report isn't made public, then the government is hiding something. And I say, and it needs to stop, because that's not how democracy works. If you have an inquiry like they did in Watergate and all these big thing in Washington, in America, even in Germany and other countries, it has to come to light. Even Volkswagen, which had emission that was illegal, and they were promoting green energy, they were found guilty and they had to pay billions of dollars. But
Yeah.
we're talking about men who lose their lives, and these are not rich guys who drive Mercedes and Porsches. These are guys who are working class, poor people. These aren't rich guys. And that guy, Yusuf, I think Yusuf Ali, is that his name? I don't know if I said it right.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, his father, when I saw that picture of his father crying, I cried with him.
Yeah.
It broke my heart because he was outside there, sitting alone, and you had all these very highly paid officials hiding. They wouldn't even offer these people a room to sit away from everything so they could console them and give them information. They kept them and treated them like outsiders, just like the energy sector with people who want to support green energy. They will lock you out the door.
Yeah.
And that's how they treated these families. Like, we don't care about you. In fact, during the inquiry commission, they had a whole section about that. Why there was a chat going on with Arlene Chow and other members, and they were saying, well, we should hide these people, get them in a room, at least give them some coffee, give them some water. It took hours. They didn't even, I think, days to decide that, didn't they? And all of this was happening while those men were dying in a pipeline mere feet underground in an ocean. You know, in India when they had that tunnel, and and those 47 men were trapped in that tunnel. It was very dangerous, and the temperature went really down. It was very cold in that ground because they had winters there. They tried relentlessly to get those guys out, and you know what they used in the end? They used rat miners. A rat miner are guys who are they dig little tiny holes, and they're very small guys, little stature guys, so they can fit into holes and they can go inside. That's why all those miners inside there look like small Indian guys. They do that in Africa when you're digging for gold or diamonds. They send children into tunnels to dig. They're called rat miners, and it's illegal. But we have all the technology here, and we have the Prime Minister brags about the technology, and the Health Minister brags about the healthcare, and we couldn't rescue those guys as we were watching them die. It baffles the mind. It baffles the mind. Nothing from nobody, and the Prime Minister silent. That to me said it right there. His reaction sealed my perception of him and my belief in this man, that he is corrupted to the core and does not give a damn about children who are getting raped, women who are missing, and men who work for big companies and they die in your front of your eyes. And I think this is something that we have to really pay attention to, because it's only going to get worse when you treat people like animals. And we are heading in that direction. I feel like it's not a matter of waking up now. It's a matter of now getting the fire in the people's belly to say, let me rise up and let me stand up and we demand that this report be made public. And if it's not made public, we are going to make it public. Because I'm sure every board member has a copy of that report, and Mr. Lynch has a report, and he has a duty now to give it to the people if that Miss Kangaloo refuses to give it to us. That's my opinion. And if Mr. Lynch really cares, because when Arlene Chow, he asked her if that was your mother or father down in that peg, what would you do? She started bawling like crocodile tears. She was crying and wiping her eyes. That's what they all do. They always say, oh, if it's your mother, what you going to do? And they start crying. You ever ask a police officer? We had so much, I'm making it quick now. We had a bar, right? And it was playing music 24 hours a day. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, the man blaring loud in their music, boom, boom, boom. I used to call the police every night, and I used to say, my mother's 86 years old, officer. What if it was your mother? He said, you talking about my mother? Don't speak about my mother. That's how, and then, you have to shut up. They cry. It's okay for your mother to suffer, not their mother. So,
That's right.
or their brother. So
Do as I say, but don't do as I do. Yes. Do as I say, but don't do as I do. Yes,
and you
that's
say it
the
all the
kind
time
of
on the
hypocrisy
radio.
and the kind of the kind of biases that we have to subject, particularly with people who have some degree of authority. I mean, that is a classic case of abuse. Yes.
Abuse and scary. And you know what is really sad? And that's the family, right? When this guy who's traumatized, the survivor, I'm sure he gets nightmares every day. People thinking he's showing off and they're just writing it off. And they probably will say, look at those family, well, them could still live and survive. Them gonna make it, they will get poor relief. This family lost a breadwinner. The family got broken up. But you see, we have so many broken families that we cannot empathize with them because we don't know what it is like, some of us, to have a real family. So we don't care. We'll just write it up, and that's the prime minister. He doesn't care because his family, he has the money. He can throw money all over the place. So that is my opinion. I hope this report.
Our money.
Yes. The money that should have been given.
Every single person must understand it's their money. Their
we
money
pay that every day.
That they're using as if it's a private parlor or rum shop.
Yeah, and it's not little bit of money, it's billions of dollars. Billions that could go into better schools.
Billions, yes.
Yeah, billions of dollars that could go into a higher pension for elderly people because they're supporting their grandchildren with a pension. Make better. Yeah,
what the hell these people doing in office? I don't know.
This is we will, like you say, we have this consciousness now, and we are aware now, right? And we're being enlightened. So let us move with that.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thanks, man.
Yes, indeed. That is the kind of level of conversation. I want to say, of course, my apology. It was my mistake. There was a final act I had to do to engage the Facebook, and I didn't do it up until just now. So while she was speaking, I got to find out what went wrong, and so I'm sure that I am seeing myself now on Facebook, so you would be seeing. Sorry about that. I know that by now it would have been a couple hundred persons, but I assume that people might have said that maybe there may be no program tonight. No, I am a man of my word, and of course my word means a tremendous amount. I am not Rowley or the members of his cabinet who have a compunction and a proclivity and a tendency and a penchant to lie. Yes, of course, you can consider them to be, of course, suffering from mythomania, compulsive lying, mythomania. Yes, mendacious you could use as well. You could use prevarications, and you could use simply lies. Yes, that is what they are suffering from. And a serious bout of illusion. Dear manic, depressive, intellectual deficiency is unbelievable. Manic depressive psychosis, it is called. Unbelievable. And we have to call them out on every occasion. But let me go straight, of course, now that we have everything working smooth and, of course, up to par, so to speak, all systems go. I want to tell those on Facebook you have not missed anything, so get back on as soon as you can. One tell one, of course. Don't forget to share. Don't forget, of course, friends, family, etc. Share. And, of course, like as well. And, of course, subscribe as well. Press that button with respect, of course, to YouTube. But, of course, do the same on Facebook, people, because we are going straight, of course, to the information that I want to share with you tonight. I think we have, of course, had a sufficiently lengthy a prelude to what we want to introduce. And of course, I want to take you quickly to, of course, Stuart Young's pre-action protocol letter that triggered, of course, the response that we sent Andy and myself. Yes, indeed. This is the pre-action protocol letter that is before you now. Let me just make sure that I'm in a position to, of course, share with you. Right, good. Let me see if we can Bring that up. Bring that up. Let me see. Bring that up. Let me see. Why is it not showing in the background there? Let me see why it is not showing. Let me take off. Let me take off these vipers and see what may have happened. Let me just get rid of these vipers. I like to make sure that you know all of them, so that you know who are the ones that are delivering the evil to us, and the wickedness and the macabre situation that we are in. Let's go straight to the line. In the meantime, a pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Lennox, good night to you and to everybody on the chat.
Yes, good night to you.
I was just about to say the same thing. I thought you were not coming on tonight. Lennox, I'm
the Lord moves. The Lord moves. Yeah.
It moves in me. Yes, Lennox, I must apologize for my tardiness. You know, this is a season of hard work and tiredness. And I have been so stressed out. And what happened is, you see, if you come on a little bit late, I caught. You understand?
Right.
It's just
I'm sitting down.
Some nights I'm sitting down here waiting and sleeping on myself, and then next thing I catch myself after the program. Yes, you know, as I said, it's a season of hard work and tiredness, Lennox, and I apologize for it. I also want to apologize, and I know we have a lot of ground. Let me take a sip of water.
Yes, go ahead.
And I know we have a lot of ground reporters on the chat as well. I also want to apologize for that. I have not deserted you all. I have not deserted the corridor transformation or the ground report. What happened with the ground report is that I am not picking it up on the radio station. And then you know the problems we have on social media. But I am right here waiting for when you all come, when the ground report comes back on. I will be right here to pick up where I left off. But I hope it happens soon, because I am really missing you all. I am missing our conversations and everything, you know. But the one of the things that I would like to make tonight, and I with Ms. Pasabi Sessa last night when she said to make the report.
I lost it momentarily.
Okay, you're hearing me good now?
Yes, beautiful, yes.
Right, you're hearing me good, right, okay. Yeah. Our money paid for that report, just like our money paid for the Darrell Smith report. And since September, the judge gave instructions that it be made public, that Darrell Smith report be made public. But you see, we as citizens, we sit down, we are too complacent. We should have hit the streets asking for that report to be made public. And I hope we hit the streets asking to be made public. And based on everything that Mr. Lynch said, that was no act of God. That was an act of man. That was done deliberately, because those men were left from Friday to Monday. By Monday, at a certain time on Monday, they were still alive. Lennox, they might have been, yes, badly damaged. They were badly damaged. And today, 1 year later, 1 year and months later, they might have been in rehab. You understand? They might have been doing rehabilitation work or whatever, but they would have been alive. But somebody in Paria paid God and left them there to die. They're there to die. And I hope, Lennox, that we get that report. Let us know what is going on. Yeah. For too long, we are being made of fools in this country.
Beautiful.
Too many things have reports, too many reports, and we are not being privy to it. The next excuse you're going to hear is that Kamla put live sport the life support report in Parliament and caused Anil to go free. Anil's name was never called in any report. Never. And you see, it's only ignorance have them talking like that. Because the judge said for it to be revisited. The auditors never interviewed Chris and the others. So it was thrown out. Kamala had nothing to do with that. But you see, when you have weak brain followers and you feed them that nonsense, they pick it up and they run with it. Regurgitate it all over the place. And I am hoping that there's something is done about it. I hope Prakash and all of them get together and they do something about it. Let us see when, because he's not here. He's not here. He got London again. God in heaven knows for what. Who he fooling people with? Well, let the acting Prime Minister release the report. Let him release the report. Because Camille report with the handbag money still hiding. Foster Cummins investigation still hiding. Faris and the witness tampering still hiding. And now they're going to charge them civil. They can't do criminal again. So they're going civil now.
Ridiculous.
Something is wrong.
Ridiculous.
Something is wrong with this government.
They will fail.
Right. They will fail again. And I want to tell all the naysayers, all the pollsters, all who pretending to conduct survey, right? When all you want to conduct survey, don't conduct one for Kamala to go. Because Kamala ain't have the waiting. Kamala is not responsible for what Rowley doing. It's only responsible for what Rowley doing. Because if only had the guts to walk out there and protest, Rowley would have never be doing what it is he's doing today and taking us for fools in this country. Imagine all they doing a survey, all they doing polls. Kamala must go. I want to know why Kamala have to go. Where Kamala going? Rowley who messing up the country, only not calling for his removal, but Kamala must go. And I want to ask them, the same pollsters and them, all you feel that when Kamala go, Rowley is going to hand over the government to the new leader? What make all you feel that the new leader is going to win something? I am so sick and fed up of these people. The person who destroying the country, they're not attacking them, but they're attacking Kamala. Lennox, thanks for listening to me. Take care and have a good night.
Well, as usual, you have not lost your sting, so to speak. And
thank you.
Yes, and we very appreciative of the fact that I'm sure because of your concern that effort was made, and I'm sure it's an extra effort, and I'm sure the whole world is appreciative, far less for Trinidad and Tobago. So thank you
very much,
Lennox. Yes, indeed. And people, of course, we have to commend the people like these who are like-minded. We have another call. Pleasant good night. Who are like-minded and are prepared, of course, to make the ultimate sacrifice to protect and defend our democracy. Because democracy is government by the people, of the people, not of Rowley and the PNM, and for Rowley and the PNM, and by Rowley and the PNM. No, that's a misnomer. That is unadulterated and monolithic misrepresentation. And that's a nice word to say, a blasted lie. A blasted lie. So we are not going to, of course, find any excuses to accommodate that level of illusion, innuendos, deception, and self-serving aggrandizement. Wise they go away and, of course, commit political homicide, political genocide, political destruction, political carnage, political evils, political monolithic destruction. No, we are going to stay solid as a rock and defend our democracy, and therefore our sweet, sweet Chinbago from those vipers that have invaded our political spaces. A special good night and welcome.
Hey Lennox, pleasant good night to you and everybody any live near and far throughout the world. I know they're listening both on Facebook and on YouTube. Hope that you'll get Instagram and other social medias very soon.
Yes.
But I want to find from here, Lennox. The gas that we're using in our vehicles right now, where the government getting the money right now to purchase these gas for us to use. How are they coming about this money to purchase these gas? That's what I want to know, because we don't have petronary. So where the money coming from to purchase them gas?
Well, it's clear from the remaining operators in the gas, oil, and petrochemical industries. That's where it is coming from. 20 million a month US. 20 million a month to people US. I have spoken extensively on that matter, and there are other things that are coming to our attention that I will be sharing with you in due course. But 20 million US a month. What a tragedy. What a classic case of mismanagement and incompetence and criminal behavior. Go ahead, my friend.
So you telling me I have let me give you something that happened here in real life. And I want everybody to listen with this when I'm telling me, because this country shut in some time warp somewhere in time somewhere. I have a partner Lennox. The man built a nice little flat house. The man have wife and probably about 2 children. Man does work, construction. And like he gets some offer to go Canada now. So he decide now he go try and organize to carry family and stuff across. But you have to get X amount of money to do so. Then you know what a man sell the house. Sell the house so he could get the money to go to Canada. When the shit hit the fan, it's because whatever it is you're going through, it didn't come true for him. Wow. He now turned around, no one had to rent. He even go so far and go behind the brother for a little piece of land. He didn't kill the brother or anything for a piece of land in the back of his house. Because of the stupid mistake he made. And that wasn't no little mistake. That was a huge mistake because they wanted by to sell the house. And Lennox, I think it's a nice little concrete house the man having. The person who buy the house from him convert that house into a multiple-story house for people to rent it. It have about 8 tenants in the house right now. And I keep asking myself, what the hell is really wrong with us in this country? It has something in the air. And mind you, wrong with the corner by me, it has a set of balize plant or tree, I cut down all. Because I don't want that thing too close to me, because I feed that thing and go something for people to be stupefied. So I get rid of all of it. But something definitely is wrong in this country. And here, I want to put this on record because I know this thing on Facebook and on YouTube. You see, when when the money run out, when they can't import gas, that is when everybody go come on the street. They will be forced to come on the street like Sri Lanka. Locked on and listening.
Yes, my friend. And your logical prediction, your prophecy is well placed. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to treat with that. It's only Rowley and the trying to sell people an illusion, and that of course that is why they are behind, of course, the dragon gas, and that is why they simultaneously are digging further in our purses as far as property tax is concerned. But I want, for the first time, I'll be saying this because there's a similar situation like that involving Avanar Singh, the minister, the fellow who is in the office of the Ministry of Agriculture, Avanar Singh. Several persons came to me, Avanar Singh, I hope somebody tell you, because I will be pursuing, even though you think that I've lulled. No, this is about strategy. Avanar Singh went to some people in Central and told them, come to his office, he will give them contracts under the corrupt interchange. Yes, Avanar Singh. When meet you in pass you, and you feel you get away. But I'm glad that the caller raised that issue so that I could lay the foundation. Tell them, an African fella, he went and he sell his house, similar to what that guy said. Sell his house, and told him, wife and children, I think he has about 3 children going to school and so on, that don't dig nothing. Because Avanar Singh and them encourage him to find a sum of money to consummate the contract and to give them it as a grease hand. I see it as a grease hand, but it was supposed to be in a escrow account. That is the kind of deception. That is the kind of criminals by deception. That's how they operate. They sell you a rosy story. You put in an escrow account, and the man went and sell the house, pay off the bills and so on, and expecting, timing it, and expecting that you will start the contract, start to get money in order, of course, to buy something again, because I think the contract was for about $7 million, and therefore that to him was a huge investment and a huge stake for the small money that you would have had to sell the house for, comparatively speaking. He said that thing for about 500,000 thereabout. They're up and down the place looking for Avanar Singh. Can't find him. Going home by him. Can't find him. In the meantime, the guy had to move out from where he is living because his wife and they peeved, upset. His wife leave him. He had to come in Laventil and live. Going to Laventil and live. And he lucky somebody give him a lodging. Yeah, Avanar Singh. Central to all of that, Avanar Singh. It is endemic in this crop of criminals who would use their offices to exploit the poor and to dispossess, as I spoke of with respect to COVID and the fact that hundreds, if not thousands of persons did not get a hamper. Hundreds of persons lost their micro businesses and stopped any business at all. Hundreds of persons lost their jobs because many of those entertainment or sub-entertainment entities whose existence was in the context of business, a bootstrap operation, where they had to make a sale in order to buy a case of rum. And they have to, of course, wait on the Friday sale in order to pay their workers. Struggling. And now, the entrepreneur themselves, the owners themselves are out of a work. And the 1 or 2 persons that they would hire are out of a job as well. And the whole paradigm has shifted for the worst and a spiral downwards of decadence, poverty, hopelessness, and regret. Yeah. So I thought I should introduce that because it is part and parcel of the discussion tonight. Because of course, if we weren't good for ourselves, can put and smoke our pipes, when of course Stuart Young issued that pre-action protocol letter to us, both Andy and myself, and I'm just going to run it through because we did it already. So just say, of course, it was on the 1st of June 2020 to Lennox Smith, of course, and then a pre-action protocol letter, and it says, of course, defamation of Mr. Stuart Young, published on 104.7 More FM on a particular date, Monday, etc., etc. So I'm not going to go through all of that. But May the 13th, 2020. And of course, it went on, but the last page I think is important. It went on to say all what we said according to them. And then, of course, in the last part, he talked about the fact that we have defamed him. That is what he said. And that he wants an undertaking. He wants an undertaking by me not to repeat and or publish the offending words or any defamatory words for that matter in relation to my client. Of course, the lawyer talking on behalf of Stuart Young. Well, I want to tell Stuart Young once again, you and your boss man, who is a rapist and that is your leader, I want to tell you that you're a blasted racketeer, you are a liar, you are a deceiver, and you are incompetent, you are impotent, and that you ought not to be in office, and that you are in office under false pretense and collecting monies for you and your family under false pretense. And the national interests will certainly rebound in the fullness of time. He continues to say that he wants to an immediate and unequivocal public apology in terms to be approved by me, meaning the lawyer talking here, on my client's behalf within 7 days of this letter. Well, it was 7 days then in June. It is now 3 years later, and up to now I haven't responded. Otherwise, he would have been up and down the place. Yes, I sent it recently to, of course, Wade Mark, and I sent it, of course, to Alan Roberts. So just now you'll be hearing how these fellas are cowards, and that they could only function and generate this level of evil and debauchery and wickedness only when they have the cover of an office, a public office, and with it the protection of the law. Outside of that, they're like dogs on the road, and we will live to see that happens, because evil cannot prevail over good, and that the Lord moves in mysterious ways, his wonders to perform, and ugliness in more ways than one. In the case of Rowley, a face he and Hines, a face only a mother would love, but they are ugly outside and they are ugly inside. It means therefore they are double ugly. 3, he want damages in the sum of $700,000. He want damages in the sum of $700,000. So it is not enough for him to have the most amount of recusals in the cabinet to satisfy his family and his brother. No, he wants $700,000 from me. Believing that somehow the office will protect them. And then, of course, 4, he talks about payment of my client's cost to date in the sum of $5,000. So in addition to the $700, he wants $5,000 for that letter that he lawyer sent. The fact that he have not spoken about it, you know that they are at the political deterioration or deteriorating end. So they wouldn't talk. Once their political stock is damaged, they don't talk. But if it is on the ascendancy, that's how Rowley was up and down the country talking about Alan Ramlogan and Ramdeen. And suddenly, when of course the thing turned around, he get pipped one time. He didn't know it never reached the cabinet and all that kind of hogwash. Well, today I'm going to tell you something that logically you would understand that this man, there's no limit to his lies. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night, Lennox. How you going, boy?
Well, of course, I listened to Andy Delcy Rodriguez song, so I'm feeling kind of inspired by it.
Right, I see it calling children ugly, but he's not ugly. I call him a ugali. Ugali, I call him. Them on the wicked way. All our accusers, all our millions of dollars, them milking from this country.
Tell me, man.
Boy, it's a sin in one. These fellas getting away with it. And this sycophantic.
So they believe. No ugliness could get away the way how they have done it. They did it too blatantly and believe that there is no consequences. They don't have to answer. They know what is coming for them. They know what the possibilities are. And they recklessly went and engaged. So therefore the consequences must be equally exacting on them. Go ahead, my friend.
The sycophantic supporters could only talk about Section 24 and email gate. One set
Storms in a teacup. Storms in a teacup. Storms in a teacup. Go ahead.
Yeah, bringing up that whole talk. Like if Section
yeah, those talk show hoax. Talk show hoax. That's what they are, hoax.
The Section 24 only make for his and them and people get out of jail. Not for the average poor man. So it had a little glitch with some foolishness take place there, but just for the whole thing. It's that Section 34. It's going to assist a lot of people who inside a jail wrongfully to get out. But they didn't see it that way when you watching it's on street. And let's make up lies, foolish talk with email game business. When men should be in jail, including the Prime Minister, for slandering and manipulating, attacking the then Prime Minister. He should have never even been in Parliament for that fuck a lie that he tell on that woman and Cabinet. In another country, he doesn't be facing jail term. And they were sued.
Treason.
They were sued the jockey short out of he and you wouldn't have a coconut branch to live on that. You have nothing. You understand? But it's only here they'll get away with stupidness. RPM, Lennox, better I go to come and work in the man, because I ain't like this spending $34 million on security and with Petrotin.
On what?
On Petrotin and dilapidated
15, yeah.
So the dilapidated place where right now you know what it's about. $30-something million a year, you know. Somebody you can afford out of that. I saw that you just sell that stuff and they ain't get $54 million for that. It's a stop you also. Boy, just listen to me, boy. And that place was laying waste and deteriorating every day. You know what months of millions of dollars to bring back that company? It's very hungry to start back over our company. The way it is right now. Let CNN get away with more in this place. And people doesn't talk about that. They make the entire or the time a ghost town. One point is a ghost town.
Yeah.
People they limit that poverty, the media will tell you that limit that poverty right now. People lose the job. You have to down there. Most of the businesses gone bankrupt because they are police tax. Then the questions are the same, but you don't see that way. Then that's not the so that going to the country and you can have the government. So don't that is something sugar industry, all these things are shut down because they cannot do, right? And so when you can make a profit because they diversifying the company, if CNN government didn't want that to continue, they were going to sign a movement and carry. It will diversify some self-sustaining. Because I have a result entirely the system. But I see. But then we know nothing about the rest of them right here. The last nearly talking was taken, Ariane not to live off, nothing. You gotta be dead in by the wayside.
Yes.
Right here.
Yeah. Let me quickly, because we reaching 10 o'clock now. So, yeah. Thank you very much, of course, for that a very sterling contribution. Let me just say, of course, that apart from the 700,000, he asked for $5,000. Of course, none of it was paid, and he will not get a red cent if there's a red cent, and he has remained silent on the matter. As I said, we have recently, of course, sent it to that matter to Church, not to Wade Mark, and of course, Annie Roberts. And tomorrow I'll be sending a copy to the political leader of the UNC, just to make sure, because the Delcy Rodriguez matter has raised its ugly head once again. And I will be, of course, putting a dossier together to send to the American Embassy to take up to the State Department for them to re-examine the situation and the deliberate conduct of this administration to encourage the breaching and the undermining of the sanction and the involvement of this government in that shipment of fuel that ended up in Venezuela, and of course putting Trinidad and Tobago at risk because they didn't care that over 100,000 persons migrated from here. Migrated into here from Venezuela and putting our own population under pressure and contributing, of course, to the crime and criminality that was already unacceptable and out of hand. And therefore, they pay no mind to the social and economic challenges and difficulties that we would have been exposed to as a consequence of Rowley and their reckless behavior, acting outside of the interests of the people, and therefore putting taxpayers in jeopardy. And they are still there, believing that somehow they could stay there, travel all over the world, and no consequences. We are getting rapidly closer to communicating with leaders of the world to make Rowley and their persona non grata. They could say what they want. They could talk about, by way of deflection, the opposition and how they want patriotic, only trying to sound important or to sound some kind of frivolous, some kind of superficial, some kind of nonsensical argument that has no basis in reality, and therefore it is ocious, it is irrelevant, it is, of course, dastard, and it is saturated, it is reeked with treasonous behavior. Let us go straight, of course, to the final paragraph, and you will see there where it was signed, of course, by an attaché, Girvan, Girvan, the attorney at law. And of course, they mentioned people like Michael Kwamina and all of that, who we know is Rowley's lawyer and that kind of thing. But as I said, they have not responded to my response letter. And of course, let me just show you that quickly. So look at there, that is my response letter there, Lennox Smith from my desk. And of course, it was on the 5th of June, well within the time that they asked us to respond. And then, of course, to the lawyers. And then, of course, the subject of the matter was pre-action protocol letter, defamation of Mr. Stuart Young, published on 104.7 More FM on the 13th of May 2020. Attached to me, attributed to me and the colleague, co-host Andy Williams, the Pitbull of radio. And of course, it went on to talk about all of the things, my own qualifications, etc., etc., just as him. And today, we heard nothing of him. This was just the first part of that letter. It was, of course, something like 30-something pages. So I'm doing it. I'm scrolling quickly because I want to get to the other one. So this is the first part of it, and then we have another part, part two that I put together. Look at here, right? Facts and all the documents and so on. I'm telling him that how much lies he told, and of course, put on a flash drive. 10 lies that he told, including, of course, that which when he came back from Texas, he say, and Dr. Rowley was left in Texas talking to those big shots and upstreamers in the boardroom. That kind of hyperbole talk and that kind of impression that he's more than what he really is. And then he was saying that and telling, of course, signaling to the people in La Brea that the Angeline construction, that particular construction that was taking place there in the for and on behalf of BP, of Amoco, BP Amoco, yeah, and there was some industrial issue. Talking about, of course, that rig that was being constructed there. Well, Stuart Young told us when he came back from wherever they went that the Prime Minister has successfully negotiated for the project to remain in La Brea. By that time, of course, BP was threatening to stop the work. Well, Stuart Young told them, come back here boasting. You know, they love to boast when they have a modicum, a potpourri, a morsel of some kind of success as far as they are concerned. Come back here saying that. Whilst he was literally talking that BP and they were towing the same rig to Mexico. Same rig to Mexico. So I'm putting that first to let him know. So that is part and parcel of my response to him. And of course, there's so many others like Sandals when he said that was the best thing since sliced bread. And we could go on and on in terms of the lies that he would have told. And then, of course, I did send letters to the ambassador. I sent letters to him asking for an interview. All of that, he never responded. But you want to send me pre-action protocol letter. So this is the content. This is how it was structured. Putting it in various columns, and of course identifying certain headings so that we could respond with clarity and with certainty, including, of course, identifying and giving the meanings of the various words that they complained about. Right? There's a conclusion now and synopsis. Let's go there. Where, of course, let me just get down and to be as quickly as possible. And then, of course, we have legal understanding. Well, let me tell you what by legal understanding, let me just read that part for you. At least that part I can give you. All right, let me see. Where is the part that I want to share with you? And rejecting, of course, what he said and what he accused us of. Let me just get that conclusion. It should be noted, Mr. Stuart. All right, we will deal with that another day because trying to be as quickly as possible is already 10:05, having regard to all of the interruptions, including, of course, not being on Facebook. So that is the response. Let me see that page here. Is what that page there where I signed respondent in person. That was the 43rd page. 43rd, but there were other documents attached to it, such as letters that we sent to him asking for an interview and so on, which is well within the law of defamation. We did what we had to do in order to of course, to get that interview and to protect ourselves from any kind of defamation. Same thing we did to Rowley. They can't respond. And then, of course, we attached copies of newspaper clippings with you see there, TNT gets blacklist from US. Blacklist from US because of Delcy Rodriguez flight and so on. That was the news. Look, Delcy Rodriguez here, look at a picture there in that particular matter. So that made regional and international news. And then, of course, we went on to give other copies of Guardian report, for example, and this one says U.S. TT violated Rio Treaty with Venezuela Vice President visit by, and of course the reporter, there's Delcy Rodriguez again, right? So that was all over the news, and you have the audacity to send me a pre-action protocol letter asking for $700,000. You're lucky you didn't come and drop it for yourself on Prince Street. So come and drop it on Prince Street. And I'm telling you, Prince Street is located between Nelson Street and George Street. I ain't saying no more. And for your stupidity, I myself might write you one clout. Yes, indeed. And then it continues, of course, Trinidad and Tobago faces U.S. sanctions May 2nd, 2020. That is a foreign newspaper saying that, and he wanted to send me a pre-action, but he feel like stupid. They really feel people stupid in this country. They will see when they get out of office. You will see. I'll show you how they are cowards. And then, of course, another one here. That's on May 4th. U.S. probing Trinidad and Tobago. More trouble. Yes, look, Trump and they put Trump and Rowley face to face. Or Rowley trying to look away, I don't know, but it's a picture. So I suppose when you look at it, Trump maybe tell himself he's prettier than him. Yes, and then of course the regional and social media reports. Yes, it looks Young like a buffoon, a total nincompoop, a moron. Government responds to claims that TNT violated Rio Treaty with Venezuelan visit, and then he had the audacity to go in the parliament and say that he had a meeting with the ambassador then, and that he didn't raise the issue and so on. I had to come back in the parliament and say, no, I didn't lie, all you misunderstood what I said. That level of dotishness that we have parading as Prime Minister and as Minister. Another one here, U.S. issued advisory to stop illicit shipping sanctions evasion. So that is what that shipment of gas was all about, sanction evasion. And that is what Delcy Rodriguez was here for, to evade sanction and to pay them in cash, or they say in, of course, gold bullions. We need to know. We need to know. And then says another, this is the Gleaner. The Gleaner in Jamaica saying Trinidad denies breaking U.S. sanctions, shipping oil to Venezuela. All of that kind of embarrassment. We got all that kind of embarrassment, and only have the audacity to be wrong and still strong. These fellas engage in what is called aggression being the best form of defense. So they come out, especially if you have all your information chop up, but you had the major part, and that is that they are blasted culpable. They cannot exculpate themselves, but they will come out because you don't have the facts and go to court and say that they are innocent. But I wonder what they will tell. What they will tell any angel, or should I say angel? Sorry, I mean the assistant to the devil. How they will account for the nastiness that they have done to Trinidad and Tobago during their physical lifespan on earth. Yes, indeed. Another one, the social media website links, and I give them a whole set of links. I give the lawyers that they find this too much work, so they remain silent after that. And of course, there's another one, the U.S. ambassador, U.S. embassy issued a bulletin. Look at it. Issued a bulletin saying, of course, the topic is, what's the topic? Today, the U.S. state has taken the necessary action to prevent the illegitimate former Maduro regime from further plundering Venezuela's assets and natural resources. And of course, that was by the State Department, and that was part of the increase in sanctions. But yet still, Rowley encouraged that on the soil of Trinidad and Tobago, and then tell us that he didn't know what to come for. At least we know that he knew that Venezuela was sanctioned and that woman was sanctioned as a consequence. We know that now for sure, and therefore we will revitalize, we will resurrect that attempt to deal with Rowley and they for their betrayal and the exposing of Trinidad and Tobago to dangers for which they were not elected. They were not elected to administer. You cannot do evil and get away. No. No way. No way, people. No way. So those were the letters I thought I should share with you quickly at this time, having regard to, of course, what has the time that we have expended so far. And I want to tell you that it was a wonderful night. And of course, don't forget tomorrow morning, the ground report, Andy, Mikey, and myself, as we continue, of course, to deal with these and other issues. And I want to let you know, of course, that you must understand that the evil is Rowley and his gang of criminals that must be jettisoned and out of office sooner rather than later. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. The people must decide. No. PNM must go. They must decide now that the PNM must go. They must decide now that the PNM must go. The people must decide. Yes, indeed. The people must decide. The people must decide. The people must decide. Yes, indeed. The people must decide. The people must decide. Yes, the people must decide. And the PNM is toxic, it is evil, diabolical, wicked and nasty, and must be gotten rid of. Andy, take us out. Don't forget, people, of course, our Christmas hamper program. The warehouse is 3/4. It's a small room, but we call it a warehouse. 3/4 full at 12 by 12. But it's 3/4. We need to fill it because we have a lot of people who we still have, I'm sure, will not be able to get a proper hamper coming out of the gatherings that we have gotten so far. And don't forget, of course, to share. Don't forget to return tomorrow night. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Don't forget to share. Because the only place you will get this kind of information and this kind of enthusiasm for making certain that our democracy and the onslaught thereon is halted by a group of criminals and led by a rapist and a pedophile called Keith Christopher Rowley, a rapist and a pedophile all over the place. I wonder how these people feel to know that you have your leader of the PNM over many years. You must now be relegated to the dustbin of political history, whether it be Penny, whether it be any one of those or whose names are not being called, but they're waiting for leadership. Our job is to make certain that the PNM doesn't see the light of day as a political entity, because it can't come back. There is no way that could return. They are too ensconced, and their behavioral pattern is too well established, and like a dog sucking egg, they will continue so to do if we give them the opportunity. And the population must say no, as they did in Tobago. I mean, just waste no time. As they did in Tobago, they could jump high, they could jump low. And of course, I had tonight to deal with Miss Bernie, who was, of course, making a lot of noise recently in Tobago. Let me just give you a little piece of what she has been saying as far as Tobago is concerned, and the fact that the PNM can't come back there. The fact that the PNM can't come back there. Listen to Miss Bernie and just give you an excerpt. Tomorrow night we'll play the entire thing. Yes, that is Miss Bernie.
All the politics tip on. You have to say something for UNC, and Kamala said, do you? Boy, is a stain on you, boy. Sorry for you. You have to talk about them till you're dead. Because after all these years, you was one of the banker. You can't get over that banker. They are from UNC. Every time you come to one political platform, you have to mention the UNC. You have to mention that. Why you have to mention that? Something is wrong. Look at that. The Queen of the Pack, Tracy Davis, Celestine. Come out and tell all if you vote PNM. How many THA jobs will be lost? Listen, people. We are accustomed to them nonsense talk because everything that these people tell you is the opposite. It's not who is going to take it, it's if they go back, where they're going to do the check. They're telling you what they're going to do if they get back in the office. So we now in Tobago have to make sure that they don't go back there. They don't go back there to disrupt the lives of the citizens of our island Tobago and to suffer with family to get something to eat and drink. We have to make sure that they don't go back there. It's the same thing they call leader in Trinidad stand up and say. The government of Trinidad and Tobago is not closing down Petrotrin. When it done, it closed down Petrotrin, send out so much workers. I seen on the papers that one man was getting Petrotrin. Can't get food to feed the family. You know where you feed if you want, he end up in jail.
People, tomorrow you'll get the rest. I will leave you in suspense. Yes, tomorrow, as Bernie from Tobago make it clear, absolutely, and why it is that the men of the cloth and ladies of the cloth, the religious leaders, are not talking out against this despicable, reprehensible stain and embarrassment to our country, led by a rapist and a pedophile. Just now, I'll be calling on the very Archbishop to lay his position. And is it that he is supporting a rapist and a pedophile as Prime Minister in this country? We need to take the fight to them because they are simply despicable, they are evil, they are wicked, they are diabolical, and they mean harm to us, and we must respond appropriately. We must. Otherwise, Crapo smoke our collective and individual pipes. That is how deadly these people are. That being as it may, people, have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless, and let us take in Andy, and of course, the whole question of Delcy Rodriguez, and of course, the so-called meeting about COVID, our very own Andy Williams.
You open up the borders.
You open up the borders.
For Delcy and 5 others.
For Delcy and 5 others.
To have this COVID meeting.
To have this COVID meeting.
To discuss what's happening.
To discuss what's happening.
Without a doctor. No health officer. And people asking. Everybody lying. end up in Venezuela. Don't feel me foolish.
Don't feel we foolish.
Rowley think we dotish.
Rowley think we dotish.
They underestimate we.
They underestimate we.
They think we real stupidity.
They think we real stupidity.
Ah, Stancy. Defend the VP. Ask Moses. For foreign business. It got to be us in the corona. Young and the Prime Minister. It have to be gas in the corona. It wasn't pasa.
It got to be
Gas in the corona. Trinidad to Aruba.
It got to be
Gas in the corona. End up in Venezuela. Sí, señor. Sí, señor. Sí, señor. Sí, señor. The US ambassador
The US ambassador
came out and caused an uproar.
came out and caused an uproar.
He said this kind of topic
He said it's kind of something
he don't discuss in public.
he don't discuss in public.
The Rio Treaty, they could sanction me. Aruba said they don't know nothing. It got to be gas in the corona. Young and the Prime Minister. It have to be gas in the corona. It wasn't pasa.
It got to be
Gas in
The
the
corona. Trinidad to Aruba.
It got to be
Gas in the corona. End up in Venezuela. They line on the line. 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 They line on the line.
That is so nice. I think we should do it twice. Man. Let's go.
Officer. And people asking. Everybody lying. It got to be gas in the corona. Young and the Prime Minister. It have to be gas in the corona. It wasn't pasa. Gas in the corona. Trinidad to Aruba.
It got to be
Gas in the corona. End up in Venezuela. Don't feel me foolish.
Don't feel we foolish.
Rowley think we dotish.
Rowley think we dotish.
They underestimate we.
They underestimate we.
They think we real stupidity.
They think we real stupidity.
Ah, Stancy. Defend the VP. Ask Moses. For foreign business. It got to be gas in the corona. Young and the Prime Minister. It have to be gas in the corona. It wasn't pasa.
It got to be
Gas in the corona. Trinidad to Aruba.
It got to be
Gas in the corona. End up in Venezuela. Sí, señor. Sí, señor.